Good morning. Good to go, Gordo? Thank you. Well, as I do at the start of every one of these, I want to give an update on the vaccination rates in Queensland. And currently this morning, 25.18% of Queenslanders are fully vaccinated. It's important. Go and get vaccinated. Talk to your GP. If you believe in wrapping your arms around your loved ones, if you believe in an economy emerging from this crisis, please go and get vaccinated. This morning, we see that we are at the back of the pack when it comes to vaccinations. And make no mistake, vaccine hesitancy is a key reason why that is the case. And I've heard a lot in the last few days about numbers, 70% responsibility and 30% responsibility. This is 100% the responsibility of Queenslanders and the 100% responsibility of the government to give confidence. Now, I'm sorry, but the whole way along we've called this for what it is, and the Queensland government has done everything in its power to undermine confidence in a vaccine rollout strategy. And it started with the Premier picking and choosing vaccines and reasons for not getting it. Now, in the absence of leadership on this, I want to say to Queenslanders, please go and get vaccinated. Do all you can. And I'm not comfortable with us being in the position we are. The Queensland government needs a dose of reality. We are at the back of the pack. Please, cut the mixed messaging. Boost the vaccine rollout. It is our ticket to a better Queensland. There are consequences of mixed messaging. And in the last 24 hours, we've had some more mixed messaging. And it's around the targets and what happens with restrictions when we reach targets. And Queenslanders have been told what a Queensland looks like when we reach the 70% target and when we reach 80% targets. And Queenslanders will rise to those targets. But the government's got to honour its end of the bargain. And if you set Queenslanders a challenge, they will always rise to it. But you can't keep moving the goalposts. It needs clarity of messaging, consistency, and let's get our way through this with leadership and decisive messaging. I want to make some comments before I hand over to Brent on breach of bail. What we are experiencing at the moment is more of the same. More of the same excuses, more of the same pig-headedness in being willing to find a solution to the youth crime crisis that we're having. And we're seeing it at either ends of the state. Carjacking in Townsville and a family living a nightmare of a home invasion in Brisbane, and everywhere in between. And it matters to me that people can feel safe in their home. It matters to me that people can go for a walk at night and take their dog and know that they're going to be safe. It matters to me that a young tradie can get up in the morning and know that her tools are going to be in the back of her van so she can go and make an honest living. It matters to me that you can go to bed at night and not have some grub rummaging through your life belongings that you've worked damn hard for. That matters to me. And the government has been real pig-headed on this. We haven't given a shopping list of things. We've asked for one thing, and we've supported their changes, but their solution isn't working. And we ask again, as we have many hundreds of times, please restore breach of bail as an offence for young offenders. It's what the police want. It's what the community wants. It's what every fair-minded citizen who's not held hostage to a small group of vocal minority want. Please, swallow your pride. Don't conduct yourself as being above what people expect and deserve. Please, swallow your pride and restore breach of bail as an offence, and we will have a safer Queensland. The solutions the government has put in place just are not working. And the signature policy was GPS trackers. Well, I'll tell you the track record of the government. Zero. Not one GPS tracker has been fitted in Queensland. And this trial's been going for 3 months. And they're screaming for it on the Gold Coast. They're screaming for it on the Sunny Coast. They're screaming for it in Cairns and Townsville and Rocky and everywhere in between. And they had a signature policy. You want to know what that was about? It was about a political solution. It was never about a law and order solution. And it's all been laid bare, hasn't it? 3 months and not one GPS tracker. Not one GPS tracker on the ankle of a youth criminal offending. And we're waking to scenes across the state. It is more of the same. Restore breach of bail as an offence for young offenders. Roll out your trackers. Get serious, and we can get on top of what is a youth crime crisis. I said at the start about the impact of moving goalposts and targets when it comes to mixed messaging and vaccine rollout, and no one knows it better than our spokesperson for small and family business, Brent Mickelberg, and I'll ask him to say some words.
Thank you, David. While the government is going slow, small businesses are going broke. The government are going slow on support for small business. They're going slow on the vaccine rollout, and they're going slow on delivering a plan and a vision for the future as well. Small business right now are doing it tough, and they're doing it tough because of a lack of support from the state government. We saw a grant program announced the better part of 2 weeks ago. Applications only opened a couple of days ago, and it'll be more than a week before money's actually in a bank account for a small business. That's not good enough. Small businesses need support now. Many are going to the wall now, and their employees will be without a job as a consequence of a lack of government action and a lack of desire to get this done quickly from the state government. Small businesses are paying the price. That's not good enough. Small businesses need support now. They need certainty now. They need an end to the mixed messaging around vaccines, around support. If we're going to go into rolling lockdowns, we need a rolling support package from the state government. We haven't seen that yet. The package that was announced last week was a response to the previous lockdown. What happens in the next lockdown? What happens to businesses in Cairns in 2 months' time? To businesses in the Brisbane CBD in a month's time when we go into lockdown? There's no plan. The government have not articulated a plan to support those businesses into the future, let alone to support them adequately in the past. So we need to see action from the state government now to clearly articulate what a path forward out of the current situation looks like. It's not good enough that everything that has been responded to in the pandemic is reactive from the state government. Businesses need certainty in order to plan, to invest and to grow. But at the moment, they don't see that. Businesses are just surviving. They're hanging on for grim death, and it's the state government that needs to provide them that support and that vision so that they're able to find a path out of the pandemic. They need light at the end of the tunnel, and they're not seeing that right now. Businesses need to know what's going to happen next. We've heard mixed messaging from the Premier right through the government on what will happen when we reach vaccine targets, what the vaccine target even is. How does business plan and invest in the absence of any certainty or any clear messaging from government? So the message to the state government is to, one, get moving on support for small business. It's not good enough to still not have money in bank accounts for small businesses weeks after the latest lockdown finished. Get clear on what your vaccine targets are going to be and what that's going to mean for small businesses right across the state. They need that certainty. And clearly articulate what support is going to look like in the event of the next lockdown, the one after that, because it's very clear from the messaging from the government that that's the plan going forward for the rest of this year at the very least. If that's the case, small business needs to know what the rules of the game are. They need to know that there is going to be a safety net in the event that they go through the same thing they've just gone through. So the government needs to act now. It's not good enough to react when the next lockdown comes, and we need to see support for small business right now. I'll hand back to David for questions.
Yeah. Indeed. Look, I'm not going to give any level of government a free pass on this. Every Queenslander who wants one needs to get one as quickly as possible. And the vaccine rollout has been slow, and I've said that consistently. But in Queensland, there's another factor that's impacting things, and that is the mixed messaging. And I've repeatedly said that from day one, the mixed messaging coming out of Brisbane has created great hesitancy. When the Premier found every reason not to get AstraZeneca, the phones in local GPs started ringing, and they rang for all the wrong reasons. It was people trying to put off getting that vaccine. We've got 3 choices very shortly, and I just say to people, please go and get vaccinated and talk to your GP. Let's find a way through this. And I'm trying to show leadership because there's uncertainty at the moment in the community, and people need to know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light comes with when we reach targets.
Where would you like to see the target for 20% reaching, say, 8%?
No, I want to see the government honour its end of the bargain. So Queenslanders have been told that there will be an easing of restrictions when the 70% target is reached, and then further when the 80% target's reached. So don't move the goalposts. So if that is set, and if you set a challenge for Queenslanders and they rise to the challenge, well then the reward and the government must honour their end of the bargain. And my concern is that we're seeing this mixed messaging even further when it comes to what the future looks like once those targets have been reached. That further undermines confidence in people getting vaccinated. Now, I don't want to do that. I want to keep saying to people, follow the course. You've been set a target, and we will fight to make sure that the government honours its end of the bargain. That is fair and reasonable. The mixed messaging must end, the moving goalposts must end, and Queenslanders deserve to see an economic and social light at the end of the tunnel. No, I want to see a strong system that allows people a second chance, that allows rehabilitation, but comes down on people who are habitual reoffenders. And I understand that there are people who have very strong views on both sides of the equation. I believe that everybody deserves a second chance. But the figures that we revealed in estimates show that there are a cohort who are up to their 30th chance. And there's over 90 of them that are now well past the last chance saloon. There's now 92 young offenders who are at 30 offences or more. One of them has cracked the double century mark. Well, there's got to be consequences for those actions. And if you do that, if you have a well-resourced police service, if you have a system that allows rehabilitation for the offenders early in their journey, but equally a strong response for those who cannot be curtailed in their behaviour, that is a system that protects the victim, not the perpetrator. And I'm not convinced that's the case at the moment.
In terms of the technology itself, what about the argument that the health was appropriate in some areas, say,
But it was the signature policy. The government had a 6-point plan, and I think it was version 10 of the X-point plan to deal with youth crime, and the signature policy was to roll out GPS trackers. Well, I want to talk about the track record of the government. They continue to water down the law, and after 3 months, not a single offender has been fitted with one. So I'll listen to some excuses as to why the numbers aren't rolling out at the level we'd like to see them, but to be zero, to be zilch, to have not found one person in a trial who deserves to be tracked, doesn't that tell you that this was always a political solution, not a solution for law and order? And people are feeling at both ends of the state a youth crime crisis that is gripping their neighbourhood. And these are people who get up every day and they pay their taxes, and they deserve to ask why there wasn't a police shift rostered in their community. They deserve to know why there's not a single young offender who's been tracked with a GPS device. And above all, they deserve the right to know that breach of bail should not exist in a situation where there's not consequences for action. Why? Now, the Premier will be standing up. This is the second time since the incident in Brisbane that rocked this state, the second time the Premier stood up. I want her to answer today why there shouldn't be consequences for action, why somebody who is out on bail should not have consequences attached to their behaviour, why a police officer can't intercept that person before they commit their next crime. That's what I want to know. It's a simple case of why. That matters to me, and it matters to Queenslanders.
do you support the Economic Holiday?
Well, the government said it consulted wide and far. Well, I'm not sure they consulted with teachers, and I'm not sure they consulted with students, and I'm not sure they consulted with the hospitality industry either. And good government is about being honest and transparent and being accountable and being a good listener. And the mad scramble that I've seen in the past 24 hours suggests to me there wasn't a lot of listening and there wasn't a lot of consultation.
And on businesses, do you think it's fair if, say, we get to that 80% Queensland is vaccinated, do you think it's fair that Queenslanders should expect some snap lockdowns, possibility of snap lockdowns
People want to know that the government will honour their end of the bargain. And what has consistently been said is that as a sliding scale, as targets are met, there will be an easing of restrictions. And to have commentary walking back from that, in my mind, that undermines the vaccine rollout. And I'm not going to be part of that. So I'm going to say to Queenslanders, you've been given a target and you've been told of consequences that will come from that, positive consequences for your family and for your business. And I give the assurance to every Queenslander that we won't allow the government to walk away from that. We will hold their feet to the fire because they made promises and people accepted that in good faith. And I say to every Queenslander, to the balance that haven't had the opportunity or haven't yet taken up their chance of getting vaccinated, I say to all of them, we will make sure that with you are honouring your end of the bargain, so too will the government. Thanks very much.